This new movie in the franchise has a new main character. He's Jakob Toretto, the brother of Dom Toretto. The relationship between Dom with Jakob is now the major through line of this movie. Because of this, a hefty part of the 2.5-hour runtime comprises unnecessary flashbacks to fill in their traumatic backstory of sibling rivalry, as illustrated through intermittent flashbacks that break up this movie's action. The siblings had the falling out in the aftermath of their father's death when they were teenagers, but over the years both wound up taking paths to becoming international super spies. The narrative involves an orb-like device that could cause the end of the world, with super spy Jakob and his crew racing to track it down. The plot further pushes the movie into the realm of unapologetic soap opera, complete with long-lost siblings and ridiculously convoluted resurrections. Story has never been a strong suit of this franchise, but this movie still manages to feel undercooked. It's rarely a good sign when a franchise needs to go the route of digging up a mysterious long-lost relatives as tired plot devices, and this movie does nothing to improve that cinematic legacy. The increasing reliance on retroactive retcons as the sole motivator for dramatic weight, even as they negate any tension for on-screen events. It doesn't help when the core dramatic pathos relies on acting showdowns between Vin Diesel and John Cena, neither of whom have the adequate dramatic chops. With an A to B plot that's as laughably lazy as it is simplistic and some dubious editing to keep things moving along, much of this movie comes across as borrowed, not only from the past iterations but other action films as well. The franchise-based pleasures are still present, but there's that unshakable notion of simply going through the motions. When we're not getting to the bottom of what ripped the brothers apart, we're back with a whole range of familiar faces to pad out a by-the-numbers story with superfluous subplots. One of the best developing aspects of this franchise has been its ability to constantly expand its roster of stars, but almost all of the attempts made here to rope familiar faces into the plot are thin. It also extends to the reintroduction of Han, who is provided an explanation for how he's not dead that can only be described as comically convoluted. Han doesn't get much to do beyond merely existing, even if he's now in place for a two-part finale. So much screen time is wasted resurrecting a dead character and appeasing a vocal minority. While there is still plenty of crazy action that is easy to appreciate, lame and lazy plotting wind up taking a serious toll on the entertainment value. It becomes actively hard to care about anything because the concept of stakes gets thrown out the window. Not helping anything is that a good portion of the plot feels cribbed from Furious 7 with some slight alterations. The movie also exposes a tough franchise problem. There are no longer any stakes left in this movie universe. There's nothing thrilling about watching a car chase through a minefield when magically only the vehicles being driven by the bad guys are getting decimated and the heroes experience zero injuries or mechanical failures. The thrills are mostly AWOL, or the feats are simply too idiotic to embrace, even guiltily. It's essentially about how the series no longer has any dramatic stakes and no longer even pretends to adhere to the consequences of its on-screen stories. Characters openly remark about their apparent invincibility and the plot constantly teasing conflict and consequence only to walk it back immediately. Even the comedy of Roman and Tej can't manage to carry the franchise's most outrageous set piece, which unfortunately proves quite dull in execution. Overall, this is among the worst of the Fast and Furious franchise. Let's just hope the next will be a lot better.